Yep, I can do that.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's show. My name is Guy, of course, and I'm your journey master here at Mapping It Out. Well, we've been going for almost a year now. We were talking about that. Next year is our anniversary of Mapping It Out, so that's exciting. How far have we come in a year? Well, you're going to find out today as you get to see even more behind the behind the project and behind the software. And there's been some really, really exciting advancements. We're talking about the landmass tool. We're talking props as well. We're going to see that today. We're going to see something about rarity, which I think is a really, really, really great idea. It's going to help with prop placement and things like that. And we're going to get an update on the website, which is looking super, super sexy at the moment. I cannot wait for that. It's a full show as usual. Now, if you have a question, please type your word in caps question. Put that word before your question so that I can see it, and then I'll be able to ask it to my guest, who is, of course, none other than Till. Till is with us. So let's get on with it. Enough of me. Here we go. Till, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, as always. Hi, everyone. Slight correction. In September is going to be our anniversary.
Oh, of course. I'm a month ahead. Sorry. I'm thinking August. I think we're already in August because July just went like that. Sorry.
Yeah,
yes,
I know.
September. Yes.
That's right.
Right.
So September is going to be the anniversary. But still, it's a road we've been traveling on, and I think eventually I will sit down and rewatch all of them from the beginning just to see how this project grew and developed and became what it is. because it's going to be quite fun. I do have, by the way, I do have an old legacy installation of the first Dungeon Fog installment that we had, and it is terrible. Like I feel like when I'm revisiting that and I'm looking at that, we're going to have a stream about that. Eventually, I will have to show you that, because you're like, wait, I can't undo. Wait, I can't do anything. But that's how it goes. That's where you start, and then you grow and grow and grow.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. So,
right.
Growing, developing, what have you got to show us today with regards to where DEIOS is at the moment? Last time we were looking, you were showing us a little bit of continental stuff, and
right.
we couldn't save, and we couldn't export, and
exactly.
So what are we doing today?
So today, apart from just boiling here in the office because it's terribly hot here, I'm going to show you the recent build of Dungeon Fog, of Project DEIOS, and we're going to see where we are right now. Then I also have brought with me today, as you'd already teased, the new rebranding, redesign of the website that is like almost finished. And we are talking about, if we have time left, we will see how much time we will have left at the end, about the asset pack that is coming this Thursday to Dungeon Fog. So there's a lot in my bags. Let's see how much we can unpack today. And I would say, to save time, let's dive into this. Sorry, I need to click around and switch things. There you go. So there should be happening something.
Yep.
Right, there it is.
There it is.
Let's make that a little bigger. So demo, let's call it like that, and let's start it. In the past month, in the past weeks, we have been refining the landmass drawing. Now, I have to point out, due to the fact that my PC is currently running 3 monitors with OBS, Zoom, and the desktop application, it is already rather slow. The build itself that we are seeing is not performance optimized, and we know that it is still slow. So don't be scared if things like updating the mouse position might be a little bit delayed. It's a heavy stress on my PC right now. So there you go. Now it takes a little bit, and the landmass is rendered. Going back to what you've seen before, there are 2 major improvements to the way that we draw landmasses. First of all, I think I've shown it in the last one already, is that we are now smoothing out the edges, which creates, to my belief, a way more natural feeling to the landmass curvature. Also, you might notice that we now have proper anti-aliasing. So I'm already at 5 kilometers. That's the furthest I can go in here. And it is a perfectly smooth edge. Going out, again, smooth edge. There is going to be, it didn't make it into this build, but eventually we will need to revisit the line strength when zooming out, because now it's looking lumpy. I feel like we should reduce the line strength based on the zoom level, and even reduce the points to draw a landmass when zooming out. Goodbye, little island.
It's so small now.
Well, it's 200 kilometers in width still, though. So this is apparently you can see you have the landmass here. You can name that. We see the stage. We have the stage settings, and goodbye. That is going to happen sometimes because it's a unstable build at the moment. So don't worry, we know that it's not going to be alpha material. Demo 2. Let's see how many demos I'm going to create today.
Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Place your bets. So, Till, I know it's not necessarily for alpha, but whilst you're sort of redrawing that landmass, the jitter the coastline that you've got
Yeah.
at the moment, we will be able to control that and make it
Yes.
more erratic or less erratic.
Yes.
Okay.
We are still like, that is what we're doing right now. Bodhi and I especially, is we're just playing around with it and experimenting. How can we display the settings? Because right now they're hidden. We have a developers build where there are fields where you can enter values. We feel like this is also not a good approach. So there should be a slider. And this is something that we need to figure out what feels natural, what feels good for the users. But there is going to be an advanced option where you can set the jitter options for that. You remember from the last time I showed you can switch between no jitter. Oh, wait, I'm in the wrong window. Here I need to go. Which would then create something that has no jitter at all. And you can go into the jitter mode, and you can go into the subtract mode, and I can subtract something from here, from that landmass. So again, landmass drawing is, I would say, almost finished. It's now about landmass selection, scaling, moving, shifting, all that stuff is still being improved. But the interesting part for today, I think, are two new things that you can click on. First, you see that we have an export here, so you can now export your image. And which I think is really exciting, we have the props. So right now, we're not having a default prop at the moment. We might pick a default prop that is pre-selected. But when I click here, I have all the props that Kiora gave me for the base asset pack that are in there. There's going to be a lot more sorting. We're going to talk about that today. I'm going to show you how we are assigning meta information to all those assets. But you can switch between a list view that is going to give you more meta information here eventually, and the tiles view. And we have the recently used one. You see, I recently, in one of my test builds, used the grass, the stone tower, the cliff, the desert house, and the palm tree. And now all I need to do is I need to select, well, first of all, I think I probably will need to scroll in a little bit. Oh, we're at 5 kilometers, which is the end of the road. Let's go out again to 10 kilometers, because then we don't have the red warning. So I can now place grass here. When I click, it all automatically closes. It should be placing grass. Yes, it does. Sometimes there's a render issue. So we do have already 2 grasses there, but for some reason, one is not rendering yet. So I can point, click, place grass, which is absolutely fine. I can also brush grass. And as you can see, so here you're going to see that the current build version that we're having is not the fastest and needs a lot of system improvement, because brushing that feels like you have a very visible delay on when you do something and when the prop gets added. So we are aware of that. That has to do with this immense list of layers that we are creating. And we're going to simplify that because this is, again, this is a database problem where we need to enhance and improve the way that we're communicating with the database. And B, this is something where the UI is really stressed because it creates so many layers and we need to simplify that. So that especially is something that comes from testing what we are doing and learning, improving, going forward. So let's add a palm tree here. So we can add a palm tree here and a palm tree here and one here. Now the interesting part would be, what if I would like to have altering palm trees? The idea, the concept behind that is we've already prepared it. It's not working in this build, but it's going to work in the next one. Is I can multi-select. So I can say I select this palm tree and this palm tree, and let's say the desert house. Having all those 3 selected will then randomly alterate between the props that are being placed. And we did work in something that we are calling prop rarity, which defines how often a prop gets drawn. And this is something that you as a user eventually will be able to edit yourself. So you can define your own rarities. So let's stick with that palm tree here. Let's add that one. And let's add another one here and here. Again, I think I've shown it in the last one. I'm not certain. But we auto detect whether or not the prop is, let's put that one behind. A prop is behind the prop you have placed, or let's add a little rock here, or a prop is in front. So you don't have to pay attention to that. There are some edge cases where there you go. We are running into demo number 3. Well mapped.
So whilst you're going back on that, Till, I think people in the comments are saying, "Oh, that's a really great idea to have that rarity value." I do like that. I really do. Where you can select when you're painting what you want to be able to be brushed out. I do like that, rather than being, "Oh well, you've got 12 palm tree samples and you don't have a choice. You're just going to cycle through them." I know some programs, it's like there's 9 different types of mountains, and it just alternates through them. And if you want one specific type, you either have to click until it randomly builds the one that you want, or you have to do some finuckery. Whereas here is the case of, okay, I want just that mountain, boom, or I want all of the mountains. I think that's
yeah. Also, it means that, because the problem that we're seeing with preset collections is that you never know what the user wants to do. So probably I want to mix conifer trees and grass. Now, this is completely impossible with one collection, because we don't know that you're going to do that. By giving you the option to yourself select what you want to have in the mix is absolutely cool, because that means you're building all your collections on the fly. Let's put a little dragon skull somewhere. I can't remember because it's crashed. I can't remember what I wanted to do. Oh, right. I wanted to show that one edge case. Right, that's when you place something like that. Let me zoom in. Wait, this is not very helpful. I need to zoom in here. And you want to place a tower on top of that, or let's place a wagon on top of that. And you want to have the wagon go away. You want to have the wagon stand here. Now that's not going to work because auto detection still can't figure out which of those props you as a user want to have in front. Now, the simple solution for that is obviously that you have all those props in the selection list, and you can then send this to the front or send this to the back, or just resort them in the list here. There is, in terms of intelligent design for an application, there are boundaries where we just say, okay, this is up to the user. We will not be able to auto-detect whether or not this wagon purposefully should be hidden behind that cliff, or should sit on top of that cliff. Right. So exporting, basically, it's, oh, wait, I'm in the wrong window. Exporting basically is a very simple interface that's going to give you a map. You are going to be able to export the full map, or probably also like for Alpha 1, it most likely will be the full map. Right now we're exporting the viewscape, like the viewport that you're currently looking at. But we realized that this is really annoying. So we are going to say that you can export the full map, and probably, depending on how far we got until we launch, because we're not making Alpha 1 dependent on whether or not this feature is in Alpha 1 or not, having a possibility to crop or zoom into a specific area to export that. There's going to be PNG and JPEG for exporting, and you will be able to define the screen resolution. So you say 1-to-1 screen, or double the resolution, or quadruple the resolution here. Export, I'm not going to show that because it's not very sexy. Exporting opens a file browser that allows you to then store the image file. Right.
Before you finish, sorry, because there was something that I saw in the demo you were giving me. Sorry, Till, to break your flow.
Sure.
But could you just draw a little forest quickly?
Yes, I can. Wait, yes, I should be able.
So I noticed this. Till was showing me the software before we went live. So just do a couple trees or something like that.
You just want to provoke a demo number 4, right?
No, not at all. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. So if you now zoom out.
Yes.
I just want to show everybody that I thought this was quite remarkable, is that the objects scale out at the right sort of size, and I think that's really, really, really useful.
Oh yeah, right. So they are already baked into, and as you can see, they are right now. It's not visually appealing. We need to improve that, but they are also associated to that landmass. It is associated in the database. The renderer does not pay any attention to that at the moment, which means that if I shift the landmass, the props do not shift along with it or anything apparently. But this is going to be the next thing that we're going to do right after we have finished our performance optimizations. Because when I was testing that, Bodhi and I experienced that we can only be so good in giving feedback as the software allows us to do stuff, which means that we are now getting into the area where it feels like we need to give proper feedback on tools that are properly rendering and working. Otherwise, it's always like, it should be like that. Yeah, it's going to be like that. So we've said the next thing that we're going to do, because to my experience from where we are right now, we are really close to Alpha 1. Once the application doesn't randomly crash on you while you're doing stuff, and once the performance is optimized in a way that you can draw a brush stroke without having the feeling that you're like that you're on a modem internet connection. So Nikita, who's coming from a gaming development space, he says that once we are at somewhere between 30 to 60 frames per second, we feel like this is Alpha 1 material. Right now, depending on what you do, we are below 10 frames per second or lower. And so this is the next thing that's going to happen. And then Bodhi and I will start working on fine-tuning the prop tool, fine-tuning land masses where we feel like there still needs to be added some final touch to it. Also, if I zoom in back there, Keora already mentioned to me that when he initially created those, like the cliffs and I'm sorry, I'm always looking at the wrong screen. Oh no! We are in demo number 4. So Keora mentioned that the assets that he created are from the way that they are colored in relation to the way that the land masses are going to be colored. There's improvement needed. So Keora and I will revisit them and maybe change them, recolor them, optimize them, so that when you have Alpha 1, you have a really good experience because you feel like everything matches everything.
And that is something that you really could only anticipate once you had a working model.
Exactly. So this is something that we experienced last week, so the developers are asking us for feedback where they say, how do you want this tool to be working? And I'm like, well, give me the tool so I can test it. And they are like, yeah, but it's not performance optimized. And I'm like, well, when are we going to do this? And we have been with adding the landmasses, adding the props, adding the export, adding the anti-aliasing, adding the dynamic textures, all that stuff. We've been piling up things that now need to be revisited once we have a proper, well-performing application before we can fine-tune them. So I think it's the logical step now to say, okay, let's go into performance optimization. And multi-selection and map size adjustments and all those things we will then revisit once we feel like this is how the tools work.
Makes absolute sense. Absolute sense. I mean, the props are looking absolutely beautiful. I have to admit, they really are looking good.
I agree, and I'm really proud of everything that Kiara did. It's just, again, I think we are in the areas of fine tuning where you feel like if you place this mountain like that, it looks a bit odd. So it has to be, there have to be two meeting, like from two directions, we have to meet in the middle. We need to adjust the textures to make sure that they are fitting, and Kiara will have to adjust the coloring to some extent, or make that more transparent at the baseline so that you have a better blend. It's something that we're working on. It's something that we're experimenting with. I absolutely feel Kiara when he says, well, get your things finished first, and then I will redraw the assets that are needed, instead of trying to do things now while we are still working on textures. So we're right in the middle of all those things meeting together at the moment.
Definitely a sort of a chicken and the egg. Where do you sit?
And to my experience, it always is. But the best way is to make baby steps towards each other until you meet at a point where everyone is satisfied.
There we go. I see there are quite a few questions that have come through, but we will handle those, I think, towards the end. They're not specific about now.
Okay. They're not okay. If they are specific, if they require me to have the editor open, I think we should make it to demo number 5. So, okay, let's handle them afterwards.
Yeah, we'll come back to them. All right, so you've just shown us exporting. Sorry, I broke your flow after that.
No, it's fine. Again, I think in terms of where we are right now, you see that the select the prop, there's a filter we're going to pre-fill this with the filter tags. You have the list view, you have the recently used one. I think so it's not movable at the moment, but this is going to be movable, so you can drag the window wherever you like it. I think one thing that we've also learned is recently used is nice, but it's absolutely useless in here, because here you are trying to search the library. So we are going to drag this out to here, which means that you're going to see the recently used one, and this might be the 10 recently used props. You're going to see them as a quick selection here. And when you go in there, then you will have you probably will not need the recently used one. I can collapse them. Then you have this one, and it's going to be like, we're not going to load all assets directly in there, but we're going to group them based on packs. So this is the base pack, and once a second pack is in there, there will be a meta level where you first pick the base pack, and then you have all the props there. But you can search through all the packs and get results. So that's the idea, and it's a lot easier to show once the second pack is in there.
Okay, absolutely. Well, I think that's brilliant. I think that's brilliant so far.
Let's go and break it.
Oh, wow. That looks quite pretty, actually. Well, there's actually, there's a mountain in South Africa called the Amphitheatre, which is exactly that shape. It's got that curve like a Roman amphitheatre. So there you are.
So interestingly enough, this is just between you and me and all the viewers out there. I think when testing it, I found that it might be the bigger the asset, the better it works at the moment. Whereas the smaller the asset, the bigger the offset it is. So there's still tweaking that needs to be done. The smaller the asset, the smaller the how do you call it? The gap between placing assets. I think it's one generic number right now, and that doesn't work. So it has to be adjusted based on the assets. And interestingly enough, I wasn't able to break it right now.
It's because we're trying to. It knows. Yeah. They know. Oh, dear. There we
There
go.
you go.
There you go.
Which I think is a perfect opportunity to go to
That's right. That's
this
right.
one. No, wait. Before we go to the website,
The
I wanted
rarity
to
stuff.
yes, the rarity stuff.
That's
I
right.
just need to set it up a little bit better.
So this is now obviously relating to the props. If you have multiple props selected, some of those props might have a greater or lesser rarity value. And how have you guys set that up? Oh,
okay. So you're currently looking right now at my working sheet with Keora. That gives us an understanding of all the meta information that we need to store within our databases so that it makes the most sense. And this is work in progress. So don't take this for granted. A lot of those things might change because we, when testing it, realize that we are going overboard with it or that we need to add more stuff to it. But basically, we said we need to define what a bundle includes. Like, is it a prop pack? Is it a texture pack? Is it a token pack, wall elements, or a sound pack? And all of that could technically be mixed, but we still need to figure out if we want to make this as a single bundle, as a single pack, and the bundle contains separate packs in there, which is, again, relevant for us to understand how you upload stuff. Defining the settings, which is just a baseline for what setting could this be. Then purpose, is this used for world region editor, city editor, battle map editor, solar system, galaxy? And then you can name the pack, describe the pack, add a main image, add a gallery images to this, and have something like, is it free available? Is it available on the marketplace? Is it part of the content subscription? Whatever. But it gets interesting when it gets to world props, because here we already know that it is a prop, it is a world region prop, and then we need to classify it to some extent. Like here, I'm always, when we have the discussion, I always load a picture in there so we can see if that picture fits in all or any of those settings here. So for example, is this a structure or is this a settlement? Where's the difference between that? I think a structure is something that might be anything that is built by hands or by magic or by whatsoever, whereas a settlement is something where people might live, which still could be a tower, or still could be the Dark Wizard Tower or a jungle ruin. But it is like, how do you search for that when you go through the asset library? That's what we need to keep in mind. Then we were thinking about, as a meta information, giving environmental information to the assets, because that will eventually help us for the biomes and for probably, which is far in the future, but it will already help us with randomizing assets on a randomly generated map. So Keora mentioned that it must need a sub-environment to that. We haven't figured out what it can be. And again, this list is going to grow. Then this is interesting for you. Everything that you place on the map as a meta information will eventually contain what resources it holds. Like this one, for example, would most likely be wood and stone, for example. So if your players decide that they need to gather resources and they want to break this house down, they will, well, probably inhabitants would be a resource here as well. They would gather those resources by destroying this building.
And
rarity.
I see.
And, yeah. Well, again, I think the main purpose for this is having those meta informations is for GMs interesting, because you could have charts for your map that says, show me the highest density of wood or show me the highest density of minerals. We're not going to assign a financial money value to that, because in what currency do you track that? In gold, in silver, in script, in I don't know. But we're going to give you a rarity and a cost. You can see that down here. And it's up to the GM to decide if something is uncommon and costs moderate. What is your meaning in your game for that? Does that mean 10 gold, 100 gold, 50 scripts? I don't know this. Our software will not be able to know your specifics on that, but you know that and you can define that yourself. So here we have the rarity that says, okay, this is common, uncommon, rare, ultra rare, or legendary. And based on those 5, we're going to start with them. You will be, for example, the random drawing will decide how often it uses something like that. We will have a resource description. So I could say wood is oak wood, stone is granite, inhabitants could be 1,500, because keep in mind, a building might represent a small village. And then we have keywords in English and apparently in German and all the other languages that will be added. So that's basically, that's how we're approaching it. And we're doing the same for cities, where we see that that we need to differentiate between how we treat world props and how we treat city props, because the classification is different. It might be residential, administration, storage, military, geological, decoration, which again are kind of search categories for you. Then there could be different environments there, which we are going to need to build the districts for you. Then again, meta information of what construct, what material are they constructed of, a rarity, the costs to tell you if this is a very wealthy city, at least when it comes to building materials or not. Residential information that you might put on each building, and keywords, and so on and so forth. So, and we also need to do the same thing for battle maps, solar systems. We haven't much yet for galaxies. We're going to see where we're going when we're getting there. Textures, and so on and so forth. You see, there's a lot of thinking involved where I sit with Kiora, I sit with the team. We're trying to discuss and understand where we need to do what.
Yes. How much resources do you get from destroying a planet, I wonder? No, I think that's brilliant. I think this is stuff that we really don't get to see. So that's why we're doing these streams. I think it's good to see this. So then when you're adding in new props, they will all go through this process of getting all of this tagging data.
Yes. So the idea behind that, by the way, this is how the base pack looks at the moment. Like I've done all of that for the base pack, and the idea is to streamline that in a way. And I feel like I'm not finished. Yeah, I still need to add some of the descriptions. The idea is to streamline it in a way that artists can upload props to our service, so to the marketplace, and sell them. And at least I know that the artists who are watching right now will be, I don't want to set up all of that stuff. I just wanted to drop my images somewhere. I think so we're trying to make it in a way that it's not a click fest for the artists to upload stuff, but it still has the minimum requirements so that the users don't have to do that then manually in the system, because the artist was just, let's say, too lazy to at least label those things to a little extent. So that is something that we're working on, and that we're trying to figure out. Because if we do it right, if we do it proper and correct now, we don't have to revisit 1,000 assets afterwards. And yeah, that's where we're going.
Absolutely. And this just looks to me like it takes a lot of time and a lot of consistency as well, because you can't sort of change your naming halfway through or just decide, we're going to add in an extra resource, because then you've got to go back and repopulate.
So yes, it is something where we have to be very careful, and that's why it isn't decided to 100% yet how we are going to do this. So this one is still in the flux, because we just need to make sure that we have a persistency that can sustain the next asset pack and probably the next 25 asset packs. It will break eventually, and we will have to revisit it, because there will be this one asset pack that we've never foreseen coming, and we will be like, we have no classifications for that. We're screwed. Which is why there's a lot of other and other and other in there, which at least gives us some space. And the way that Andy is building it in the database is that it is something that can grow. Still, it is something that we will have to maintain, because as an artist, again, in 5 years, you don't want to go through a list because every artist created an other classification and then named it, I don't know, named it wheel cards. You don't want to go through a list with 500 classifications because every artist decided it's just other. And again, for the user, it would be very hard to filter because it doesn't make sense anymore. It's a lot based on the experience we have with Dungeon Fork, where we started with, I think, 50 assets. And we were like, our system is perfect. And now we're at almost, I think, we're over 3,000 assets. And we're starting to realize, oh, wait, our system is terrible. You can't really find the assets you're looking for unless you know the search term, or you click through, I don't know how many folders. And so we're trying to better ourselves with DEIOS and understand how we can improve that.
There you go. There you go. Well, that's definitely behind the scenes. I think before we move any further, let's handle some of the questions that have come through, Till, because I think they're pertinent to what we've just been talking about, and we're moving away from that in the second half of today's show. I don't know if you want to switch back to your normal self.
Sure.
So we're not seeing this giant spreadsheet, which personally terrifies the hell out of me because I don't know spreadsheets very well.
I love them. I'm the master of spreadsheets.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so Funcracker has asked 2 questions here, so I'm going to put them together because I do think even they said that it's related. Would you consider creating a web viewer, almost like Google Maps, for DEIOS that we could then embed it into third-party websites? And if you did, then would it have real-time options available to that? To a degree, that's already been handled with the World Anvil integration, but it wouldn't be real-time, would it?
I think so. It sounds really cool. And I think it sounds doable to some extent. It so much depends on what the feature set should be that you want to do in real time through the web viewer. I like the idea, and it's definitely going to be added on the list of cool things that we want to do. I feel like ask me that question in 6 months, and we will be a lot more experienced with what we can do and what we want to do than right now. I'm sorry, I can't answer you this question properly right now.
There we go. I think it's a great idea. Eternal DEIOS says, will Alpha 1 include the forest tool, like the landmass tool, as seen in the Kickstarter video? So that's the biome.
So that's the biome. And the answer is no. This is going to be the first thing. So again, Alpha 1 is the one thing that we're working, like, let's say, against a deadline that we're setting for us, where we want to have it finished. And once Alpha 1 has been released, you have the software and you have access. So whenever we push a new update, you just get a notification that says there's a new update available, and you download it and install it. And eventually it has an auto updater that will just update your application, which means you don't have to wait until Alpha 2 per se launches. Once we are happy with the biome tool and the first iteration of the biome tool, we will push it, and you can grab it and work with it. It's not going to be Alpha 1 release material, though. It is going to be released within the Alpha 1 cycle of the software. And we are calling it Alpha 2 once we have ticked off all the features that we wanted to implement in the Alpha 1 cycle. And once we're done with that, we're technically then calling it Alpha 2. But no, not release material, like Alpha 1 release material.
There you go. Maxicus says, how many assets do you believe will a world map be able to handle in the application?
we did an estimation on that, and I can't remember someone was pulling out the calculator, and we were like, well, given that we need about I think we were somewhere around 8 million that a world map, like a region map would have, and then it just depends how big the world or the planet is you're drawing, which means that we need to be very careful when it comes to level of details rendering and viewport rendering, because otherwise it's like, have you ever tried to do more than 200 layers in Photoshop? This is going to go very badly. So what we need to do is we need to be very, very careful when it comes to adding those on separate layers or on drawing them together on one layer. But we're talking about millions there.
That's insane. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. So there we go. There we go. Wow. Punch Clock Gamer says, are we in the far future going to get a proper area measuring tool so that you can quickly measure, for example, the surface area of a kingdom?
Sorry. I was in aerial, like air, and I was like, what? Area. Yeah. Got it now. Well, that's going to be pretty simple, because the political border that you're drawing is a shape, a vector shape, which means that we can calculate the square meters out, or square kilometers, or square miles out of the shape that you've drawn. So yes, and that's probably even, I would say, that is Alpha 2 material.
There you go. Damien the DM says, will there be
Hi, Damien.
Will there be an XML export for people to distribute this information already done with asset packs that people could upload custom, the information being the database stuff for prop metadata?
Nice idea. Like exporting or importing.
Says here, will there be an XML export for people to distribute this information already done with asset packs that people can upload custom information? So I would assume change the quantity of wood or timber or
So I like the idea. It's easy to do. It just has to find its place on the checklist somewhere, so we can tackle that. But I think this would be very helpful. Instead of doing all the work in the application, which might not be streamlined for doing that, because I wouldn't like to, I didn't name them in the application. I named them in an Excel file because that is a lot easier. So I like the idea, and I think, yes, this is a very good idea. Downloading something from your, probably, again, same with the collections in Dungeon Fog. So when you build a collection, or when you add something, props to your own collection, you can download the collection XML file. You can edit it and re-upload it to override it, which I think is a clever way of doing it.
There you go.
Thank you.
This is why we do this. It contributes. It makes it better. Okay, so let's move a little bit away now from the actual software, and let's talk about the website, because that's something that everyone's waiting for as well. Because once that launches, it's 15 days to alpha. Is that right? 14 days. 14 days. Yeah. I was trying to buy you an extra day there. You see,
thank you. You're so kind, but I think
then you corrected me. So.
No. I was just trying to be faster than the community, which would
I see.
very quickly spot what you did there. So yes. Again, for those who haven't heard it in the last stream, the idea is that we want to rebrand our website, and we don't want to have that fall at the same time that we're launching Alpha 1, because we feel like we are going to have support on the new website, support requests, and we're definitely going to have support requests on the Alpha launch. We just don't want that to collide. So we said, for you, the best indication that the Alpha is knocking at the gates is when the website changes, because we said, for us, this is just a goal that we set ourselves. Once the website is up, we want to have 14 days and then the alpha launches. And that means that we need to finish our website and the rebranding. And let's have a look at that, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's looking really, really good from what I've seen. That's the scary page. There's the happy page.
There's the happy page. So I've shown you that in the last stream. That was the landing page. This is just where we start. So you have a little animation up there. You have the sliders here that will, well, it's a landing page. We're promoting the tool there. You will have sample maps that you can see. So there's definitely going to be the Hall of Fame here, the maps that won the Hall of Fame contest. There might be some maps that we just particularly built with, for example, you, Guy, or from Dungeon Fork that we're really proud of. And it's just, that's the landing page. I think the interesting part is what happens when I log in. And let me just quickly log in here. So this is going to be the new dashboard. It will be a lot more optimized down here. This is just a random background that we have. So you have the My Recent Maps. You still have your map previews here. You can now see, if you want to see all your maps, you just click here and you will be forwarded to your My Map section, which isn't finished yet because there's one very essential thing that is coming, and that is you will have a search bar. Because that's what I have. Like, that's the maps that I have created so far. And that's just the maps that haven't been sorted into a folder yet. So I'm really getting lost in the My Maps section. So I need a search bar, and that is something that Thomas is working on right now. You have a quick navigation where you can jump to the folders directly. You have, if you go to a map, this is not working yet, but this is a hover. So if you mouse over that, it will automatically show you a preview of the map, so you can easily browse it by just hovering over the eye symbol. You can edit all the details in here. You see your map history, so all the save files, the versions that are existing for that. I can edit this. I can delete it. We're going to shift that. I'm always scared when I have the delete and the edit so close together. So this will find a better place eventually. Yeah, I can go into my folders, and the reason why we decided against showing the preview images right here is mainly because it's a ton of images that we need to load. And we're fearing that it is probably, so this is going to come once we feel confident enough that our service can handle. We're now having about 12,000 users per day signed on. If they're just hovering and previewing each map, we're requesting a lot of maps from the service. So I said, well, slow down. Let's see how this performs. And then we can experiment with showing maps directly on hover. So right now we have a list view here. And if you want to request a map, you have to go over here. What else can I show? My campaigns. Well, that's just, we shifted the campaigns here. So you have your campaign preview here. Oh, I really like the new public map design. So this is the new public map design with the search and all the filters and the keywords you would like to search for. I think it's a very, I like it a lot. Bodhi did a great job there. It's a very straightforward, clean design, very modern. So I'm very happy with it. Anything else? Well, you have your account, share links, notifications, your achievements, and you can log out. Oh, right. Very helpful. We are constantly building up, and we're going to switch. So there's going to be somewhere around the time that the website launches, our support will be offline for a day because we're switching our support tool, because we like this one a lot, where you can, and this is going to be available through the editor itself as well, where you can request detailed information about every tool. And it's going to obviously going to be the same for DEIOS as well. So you can now browse what does the light tool do. Is first explanations. It's still in the making. What does the brush tool do? So there you're going to have a much more detailed help center here, where you can then also open a ticket if you need to request assistance from us directly. Boop, goodbye.
I think that's very, very cool. Very, very, very cool.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's the update on the website. I can't wait to start using it. I like a lot of those features, and I mousing over the map or clicking on the map. You're probably going to click on it if you think it's the map that you're looking for, and then you'll see that it isn't. So makes perfect sense to me. We've got a few little questions here, not necessarily related to, but I think worth answering anyway. Funcracker says, is there going to be a forum or Q&A area where users can help one another with alpha issues? Not necessarily on Discord, but something that's more searchable.
Okay, so first of all, thanks to, I think it was Forecaster, one of our community members. We have a Reddit. So this is going to be the place. We're not going to create we had a forum, and we realized that it was just abandoned. Like we had a few questions in there, and then someone from our team forgot to check the forum, and then the ticket was a few days old. The beauty about Discord is that it's a lot faster, so you see when you're getting pinged. I do understand that you want something searchable, so Reddit would be one approach, and the other one is that we feel that if it's vital, like if it's important exchange that we are watching, then we're putting it into the help desk. Technically, the system that we're using, it's called Soho, offers a forum, but I feel like one step after the other. Once we've established the help desk and we feel like a forum is really necessary, we're going to add it. But now with Discord and Reddit, I feel like they're two very good ways to get assistance.
Absolutely. Gargoyles Loft says, is there a goal on when we think it will be safe to build a world that won't become obsolete by a version update?
Well, closed beta. I have to be very brutal on that. We've been talking about the same thing back when Dungeon Fork was alpha, and luckily we never ran into the problem that we had to wipe. But this is what alpha is about. It's testing and it's learning and it's improving, which might mean that we realize that our database is just not what it should be and we need to wipe. So Alpha 1 definitely is not going to be a safe harbor for creating beautiful giant world maps that you want to store forever. This is playground where you help us gain more experience in the problems that we might encounter with all the different systems out there, and having the feedback from you how you like the tools so far. Alpha 2, I would say, is already in a spot where it shouldn't explode anymore. So we shouldn't be forced to completely change structures on that. But our main goal for Alpha 2, or the switch between when are we calling it closed beta and not alpha anymore, is exactly when we can answer this question, say, we are certain that we do not have to wipe or change data structures in a way that the maps that you've been creating before are getting lost.
There you go. Another question from Gargoyles Loft. Will the map be able to, at some point, contain more than one time in history? with, for example, geopolitical boundaries? Can I show
I love
maps?
the question, and the answer is technically yes, because Andy and I have been working on a snapshot mechanic to create timelines, which means that even though it might not find its way, we will see how far we get, but it probably will not find its way into launch build. But the architecture is there so that you can create timeline snapshots. So basically, your geopolitical borders could change based on what timeline snapshot you're calling.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Till we've got 3 minutes left until we officially finish. But I really want to. I really want the guys to see what the new asset pack is for Dungeon Fog. Can we? Can we show them, please? Oh, he's so mean. You can see he's a GMA. He's playing your attention. I want you guys to have a look at this. I think it's so
yeah.
cool.
Have a look at this. So this Thursday, it's already set up. I've already built it. Like I always have. Whenever I do asset packs, I upload them and put a timer on them when they are going to be released. So this Thursday at 2 p.m. Vienna time, which I have no idea. I think it's 12 p.m. UTC, something like that. The new asset pack is going to be released, and the asset pack is called Dragons. So it's all about dragons. Let me zoom in here a little bit so that you can see better. So obviously, we have coin stashes with lots of gold and coins. So this technically, let me just select it. This is a prop. Nope, this is a light source. Come here. So this is a prop. The coins are now a texture. I've been playing around with the idea of having coins as textures. So you can, instead of placing all those stashes, you can just paint the floor with money. Who wouldn't love that? Yeah. We have the dragon skull, we have the dragon claw, we have generic bones, we have the rib cages, we have the spine, we have those single spinal bones. We have spikes and thorns and things that you can place here. When it comes to decorating dragon themed stuff, we have the statue. We have two statues. So one that is roaring upwards. We have one that is looking in front. We have those little foot things that you can place to whatever you like. So you could decorate a chest with that. I used it to decorate this column here, or this tableau. We have dragon bone themed chairs. We have this beautiful altar with, like, those are assets. So you can, wait, I don't want to zoom in like that. I wanted to do this. You have those dragon nodes on a scroll, or just dragon, how do you call it? Anatomy on paper, on something like that. We have those archways, and I've also added a dragon doorway. We have those, they are just decorational. You can put them wherever you like them. I used them to decorate the wall here. This one, the same. You can use that to decorate a corner, but it is also usable to decorate something like this altar. So you can decorate edges with that. We have also added two new, like with some scorched trees here. A very dead knight that was crawling away from the dragon and didn't make it. We have the dragon footprints. They are also available as snow footprints. And this is a texture. So we have added a few new textures. This is the scorched earth texture, which allows you to mix it with volcanic, for example, to create something like a scorched pathway where the dragon breath blew fire. By the way, we have a lot of fire stuff. Oh, I need to log in again. So we have dragon hide and dragon scales. We have different flames that you can place, like this one. It has a terrible light setting. I need to adjust that. um, and a flame wall that you can place. I think it's great. By the way that we did the ribs and the hide and the bone and the skulls, the reason why we did them the way they are is because we wanted them to be usable as roof decorations as well. So you could build a rooftop out of dragon hide and have the, how do you call it, the center ridge, um, made out of dragon spine. So I think Tony had great fun doing it. I had great fun planning all the stuff that we might use, and it worked out pretty well. I can't wait to get your feedback on how you like it and what you think is missing, um, because then we can edit.
There we go. There we go. That's it. That's it. Till this, yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on these props as well. I think it's going to be really, really, really great. We don't have any more. Oh wait, there is one last question. Forecaster71 says, will the snapshots include overlays, or will they be able to store landmass changes and props as well? This is talking that future idea of geopolitical timelines and that sort of thing.
Can you ask the question again? Will the snapshots have
only be the overlays, or would they be able to store landmass changes and
yes,
props as well?
yes. That's not just meta information. That's everything. So if you feel like, for example, spell plague, Chult was separated from the coastline when the spell plague hit Faerun. So you have something where you might say this was part of the landmass, and now the flooding came and it broke off. So this is, you can store everything. It's a full snapshot over the full system.
There you go. There you go. Well, Till, that's it from us for this month. We will see you all again. Can you believe it? In August. Good heavens. So
yes, and again, I feel like in terms of where we are right now, I feel like the soonish is becoming a very soonish, and I hope that I will be talking about the release date in August.
There we go. We can live in hope, but as everybody in chat has been saying, it is worth the wait, and we would rather have something that is good than something that is now and not working. So I think that sentiment is echoed everywhere, and certainly from my side as well. To all of you, thank you so much for watching. Thanks to the moderators for being in stream. Botosaurus, I saw you answering some questions. That's really kind of you. Thank you. Till, thank you for spending some time with us today, showing us quite a lot of behind the scenes, as a matter of fact. So that's very, very, very kind. Until next month then, I wish you and yours the happiest of map making.
Bye.